Kerry Patterson, Crucial Accountability, Tools for Resolving Violated Expectations, Broken Commitments, and Bad Behavior, 2nd edition, paperback. In the book, Crucial Accountability, authors Kerry Patterson unpack the complexities of holding people accountable for violated expectations, broken commitments, and bad behavior. The summary delves into the importance of addressing accountability issues and the strategies to create safe and effective conversations. It emphasizes the need to understand the nature of the issue, show respect, create a shared purpose, and explore possible barriers to resolve the issue. By understanding these crucial elements and incorporating them into your conversations, you can better navigate these difficult situations and create meaningful solutions.
Unraveling accountability issues. To address accountability issues effectively, prioritize what matters most and determine if it warrants discussion. Start by assessing the content, pattern, and relationship involved. Also, consider the consequences and intentions associated with the issue. Signs that the matter should be addressed include hostility towards the involved party, a nagging conscience, feelings of helplessness, or fear of exacerbating the situation. Picture this: your boss has reneged on his promise to give you a well-deserved raise multiple times. He has publicly humiliated you by calling you out in a meeting and dismissed your concerns when confronted privately. You're eager to hold your boss accountable but are unsure where to begin. When dealing with complex accountability issues, it's crucial to identify the core problem and determine if it merits being addressed. These challenges often come in intricate bundles, so it's essential to untangle them by focusing on three aspects: content, pattern, and relationship, CPR. Take, for instance, a teenager who repeatedly breaks curfew. The first breach represents the content issue. However, subsequent violations, despite promises to obey the rule, indicate a problematic pattern. If this behavior continues, trust between the teenager and her father erodes, damaging their relationship. In addition to CPR, consider the consequences and intentions tied to the issue. Using the curfew example, the father may be anxious about the dangers his daughter faces by staying out late or suspect that she intends to aggravate him by deliberately flouting the rule. Once you've identified the central problem and its associated factors, evaluate whether it warrants a conversation. There are several signs to look for when determining if the issue should be addressed. Feeling hostile towards the other party or having an uneasy conscience are strong indicators that the problem needs to be discussed. Similarly, if you're avoiding confrontation due to a sense of helplessness or fear of worsening the situation, it's critical to speak up. By carefully assessing the issue through the lens of CPR, potential consequences, and intentions, you'll be better equipped to approach an accountability discussion with clarity and confidence. Knowing when and how to handle accountability issues allows for open and constructive conversations, fostering healthier relationships and improved outcomes. Navigating accountability conversations. To establish a constructive accountability discussion, it's essential to create the right climate by avoiding assumptions about others' behavior. Instead, understand that personal, social, and structural factors may influence their actions, and approach the conversation with curiosity rather than judgment. Imagine this scenario: a man wants to address his girlfriend's broken promise. He's already angry before he utters a word, and when he finally speaks, it's an explosive accusation. Unbeknownst to him, his girlfriend has a valid reason for breaking her promise. But his hostile approach only elicits a defensive response, and they both end up in a shouting match. This situation highlights what can happen when people fail to create an appropriate environment for discussing accountability. In such conversations, they're destined for failure. Creating the right climate for an accountability discussion begins with the story we tell ourselves about the person we're addressing. Unfortunately, we tend to believe unflattering assumptions about others due to a psychological phenomenon called fundamental attribution error. This error leads us to believe that people act poorly because of inherent flaws rather than considering external factors that may have influenced their behavior. Let's consider a woman caught stealing medicine. Our first assumption might label her dishonest. However, if we learn she is trying to save her dying child and can't afford the expensive medication, our feelings about her actions change. We tend to make similar negative assumptions about people when they fail to fulfill a commitment, and these stories influence our thoughts and emotions, resulting in a tense and unproductive conversation. To improve the chances of a successful accountability dialogue, we must resist the urge to jump to negative conclusions. Instead, acknowledge the potential external factors that may have contributed to the person's actions. The influence of personal limitations or skills, social forces, and physical or organizational structures could all impact their behavior. For instance, a customer service agent might avoid calls because he lacks the skills to handle angry customers. An employee might skip an essential step in a process due to pressure to complete a task quickly. Or a child who is perpetually late could simply lack a functional watch. By considering the various personal, social, or structural factors that could lead to accountability issues, we can stop creating negative narratives. This shift in perspective allows us to approach the conversation with curiosity, enabling us to better understand the reasons behind a person's actions, paving the way for more constructive and empathetic discussions. Fostering safe accountability conversations. When addressing a problem with someone, it's crucial to create a safe environment for discussion. You can achieve this by showing respect and establishing a shared purpose, which helps prevent defensiveness and encourages open dialogue. Begin with facts rather than accusations, use tentative language to share your perspective, and end with a question to invite their input. Think about a time when a friend wanted to discuss something significant that slipped your mind. You likely felt uneasy, worried about disappointing them or even jeopardizing the relationship. In short, you felt unsafe. The same principle applies when addressing a problem with someone else. People tend to become defensive or silent when they feel insecure, leading to unproductive conversations. As the one bringing up the issue, your responsibility is to create a safe atmosphere for the dialogue. To make others feel safe, display respect and establish a shared purpose. Two primary factors contribute to feelings of unsafety during accountability conversations: lack of respect and disregard for the other person's goals or interests. Addressing these factors fosters a sense of security. Start by viewing others as reasonable, decent individuals, which will naturally guide your approach towards them. When discussing sensitive topics or talking to a higher-up, ask for permission to broach the issue, demonstrating respect. Be mindful of your tone, delivery, and body language, as these communicate your attitude towards them. Additionally, use contrasting to clarify your intentions and dispel potential misinterpretations. For instance, when discussing a specific work concern, clarify that you're not dissatisfied with their overall performance but only addressing that particular issue. Similarly, establish a shared purpose by assuring the other party that the discussion aims to benefit both of you. A manager might express the intention of finding a reporting process that works well for everyone. With mutual goals and respect in place, describe the issue at hand. Lead with facts rather than accusations or assumptions. Explain the disparity between your expectations and what transpired. Present your conclusions using tentative phrases like, "I thought," or "I was wondering," to signal that you're open to being incorrect and seek their perspective. Finally, encourage their input by concluding with a question, such as, "What happened?" This approach fosters an open dialogue that can resolve the problem collaboratively. Natural consequences drive change. Understanding the role of natural consequences in human behavior can help us effectively motivate change. By highlighting the potential outcomes of actions and fostering open discussions, we can nudge people towards more positive choices, promoting personal accountability and growth. Why do people make certain choices, even when they seem irrational or harmful? The answer lies in consequences. When making decisions, individuals weigh the potential outcomes, both positive and negative, before selecting the path that they believe will bring the best results. Applying this concept to matters of accountability, pointing out consequences can encourage individuals to improve their behavior. Rather than imposing punishments or threatening negative outcomes, using natural consequences can serve as a gentle and effective means for inspiring change. All actions carry consequences, whether they be positive, negative, or a mix of both. By highlighting these outcomes, one can guide others to make better choices in the future. During discussions about accountability, it's important to emphasize the natural consequences that the other person may not be considering. These could include long-term benefits that warrant short-term effort, results that align with personal values, or potential issues stemming from current behaviors. Additionally, discussing the broader impact of a person's actions on others can help drive home the need for improvement. Throughout these conversations, maintaining open dialogue allows both parties to share their perspectives and possibly discover new consequences that can alter their way of thinking. In cases where discussing natural consequences doesn't immediately bring about change, finding alternative solutions and clearly explaining them can encourage different behavior. Presenting a coping strategy not only makes the individual aware of the cause and effect relationship, but also provides a more immediate outcome that can motivate them to change. For example, consider an employee who consistently fails to meet deadlines. Faced with this issue, their frustrated manager may deem them unreliable and remove them from important projects. By discussing this direct consequence, the employee is given the chance to recognize the connection between their actions and the outcome, prompting them to become more punctual and build their reliability. Ultimately, this results in both improved performance and increased accountability for their behavior. Boost accountability by removing barriers. To improve accountability, work collaboratively to identify and remove the obstacles preventing someone from meeting expectations. Involve both parties in generating solutions, keeping the conversation open and supportive while exploring potential barriers. Focus on empowering the individual and enabling them to fulfill their commitments in the future. In our example, Michael, a dedicated executive assistant, is responsible for preparing an important monthly report for his manager. This report is crucial for keeping higher-ups updated, and timely delivery is essential. Eager to fulfill his responsibility, Michael works diligently on the report each month. However, he often faces delays due to his colleague Anika, who doesn't provide the necessary input on time, causing the report to be late. When Michael's manager notices this recurring issue, she understands that Michael is motivated to meet the deadline but is unable to do so due to external factors. The solution? Help Michael be more accountable by collaborating to remove the barriers he faces. Accountability discussions can reveal hindrances that prevent people from meeting expectations. It's important to shift focus towards eliminating those barriers to enable them to fulfill their duties. Involving other parties is a significant step, as it helps gain insight from those who face the obstacles firsthand. Moreover, when individuals contribute to finding solutions, they are more committed to implementing them. It is essential to empower others and listen to their suggestions instead of sharing your own thoughts first, as it might bias their responses. Instead, ask for their ideas and only add your perspective if necessary. Keep in mind that people may not always recognize what stands in their way. In such cases, collaborate to identify potential barriers. Maintain a positive tone and a supportive environment, encouraging open discussions. Inquire about their skills, support systems, and whether they need assistance. This process might uncover external factors or complexities in the planned approach that were previously overlooked. Together, address every barrier and work on finding solutions. The ultimate aim is to eliminate obstacles once and for all while empowering individuals to meet expectations in the future. Embracing flexibility in conversations. Embrace flexibility during accountability conversations by being prepared to shift focus when unexpected issues or emotions arise. Re-establish trust by addressing more critical concerns immediately and unpacking strong feelings to effectively resolve conflicts and maintain productive discussions. The world doesn't always follow our plans, and this unpredictable nature extends to accountability conversations as well. You might enter a discussion with a clear goal in mind, only to be thrown off balance by a bigger problem or an unexpected reaction from the other person. When this happens, your best strategy is to stay flexible and adapt to the situation. Flexibility is crucial during these conversations, particularly when urgent issues arise. Address the more severe concern by explaining your change of focus, assuring that the initial problem will be revisited later. Treat the new issue with the same attention and process as originally planned, establish safety, and thoroughly explore the consequences, barriers, and solutions. Afterward, you can either return to the initial problem or set it aside for another time. In addition to unexpected challenges, intense emotions can present barriers in productive conversation. Instead of ignoring these feelings, uncover the root cause by asking the other person why they feel that way. If they claim to be fine but display otherwise, gently point out these inconsistencies and encourage them to share their thoughts. By understanding the source of their strong emotions and paraphrasing what they've said, you exhibit active listening, providing an opportunity for both clarification and reassurance. Sometimes, individuals might struggle to open up, fearing the consequences of expressing their thoughts. In such cases, offer sensitivity by gently guessing what they might be experiencing and reassuring them that it's safe to discuss the issue. Saying something like, "Are you upset because you feel I'm micromanaging you? We can talk about this without getting angry at each other," conveys a comforting message promoting open communication. Effectively dealing with unforeseen challenges and emotions is essential for productive accountability conversations. By staying flexible, addressing critical issues immediately, and addressing strong feelings in real time, you can create trust, foster open communication, and collaboratively overcome obstacles. This adaptive approach is the key to managing the ever-changing dynamics in human interactions. Designing effective action plans. To foster accountability and prevent recurring issues, conclude accountability discussions with a comprehensive and detailed action plan. Focus on defining the who, what, and when of each task and ensure that everyone involved commits to the plan. Establish clear expectations, specific deadlines, and appropriate follow-up methods to guarantee success. Remember Michael, the diligent executive assistant grappling with missed deadlines as his colleague, Anika, failed to provide the necessary information on time. His manager tried to address the issue by having a conversation with both Michael and Anika, but despite seemingly resolving the problem, the difficulties persisted. The recurring issue reveals a significant oversight in their approach, the absence of a structured action plan to guide, monitor, and enforce accountability. To truly resolve accountability issues, it is vital to end discussions by agreeing on an explicit and detailed plan of action. Without a well-defined plan, interpretations may vary, leading to the same problem resurfacing time and time again. Developing an effective action plan involves honing in on the who, what, and when of each task. To do so, clarify who is responsible for each task, identify the tasks, and establish measurable expectations. For example, instead of vaguely instructing someone to be more creative, request 3 new ideas every week. Keeping deadlines as specific as possible further bolsters the plan. Don't settle for deadlines such as next week, define the precise date and time. Discuss and address any queries about deadlines or task details during the conversation to preempt confusion. With clarity established, the next step involves deciding on the follow-up method and timeline. When selecting follow-up procedures, consider the task's importance and the expertise and reliability of those responsible. Schedule prompt and frequent follow-ups for high-priority tasks with inexperienced or less dependable team members. With reliable, skilled individuals, fewer follow-ups are necessary. Ensure that all parties agree on the follow-up method and understand its rationale. The final step in crafting an effective action plan is securing commitment from every participant. Without commitment, accountability cannot be enforced. If problems still arise after implementing the plan, it's time for another accountability discussion. Emphasizing a well-designed action plan not only encourages accountability but also sets everyone on the path to success. By defining clear expectations, deadlines, and follow-up methods, your team can avoid misunderstandings and work together smoothly, ensuring projects are delivered on time and without unwarranted stress.
The book, A Crucial Accountability, highlights the significance of addressing accountability issues and provides practical tools and techniques to effectively resolve them. By recognizing the core issues, creating a safe climate for conversation, and committing to a detailed plan of action, individuals can tackle accountability problems more efficiently. The lessons from this book equip readers with the skills to manage interpersonal relationships, foster growth, and build trust, ultimately improving overall communication and strengthening the bonds between people. Embrace these strategies to ensure successful conversations with people, helping them grow and enhance their behavior, commitments, and expectations within both personal and professional spheres.